I've got a really quick little video for you today, and it's going to be episode 1 in a series I'm going to do about my favourite tools. A lot of you have asked me which tools I use and what tools I've got in my toolbox, so I thought we'd start with one of my favourites, which is the handheld Mitre Guillotine or Mitre cutter. Now, I did do a video about working with wood, and in that I talked about the Mitre cutter that I had, and this is a slightly different model. And this one is now actually available for sale in my Etsy shop, so I thought it would be a good idea to tell you all about it. So this is how your Mitre Guillotine will arrive with you, and it's got full instructions of how to use it on the back. And this one actually comes with a separate angle plate. On some of them they're actually built in. And it comes also with 2 spare blades, which are stored in the handle part of the cutter, so that's really useful. Okay, so I'm going to unpack this one and then I'll show you how it works. Okay, so I just want to start by saying that it does come with this plastic cover, and we all know that plastic isn't very good for the environment, so I just wanted to suggest that you keep hold of this plastic, as it's a nice sort of thick plastic, and it would be good for glazing. So if you make any sort of furniture pieces with glazed doors, or even for doll's house windows and that sort of thing, this would come in really handy. So I'm going to keep that in my materials drawer, and hopefully that will come in useful for future projects. And I'll also be keeping the card, which I use for glue or other projects. Nice strong piece of card there. Okay, so the first thing to do is just to release the little spring at the end of the handle here, which will open the handles. And then when you first open them, this spring won't seem very movable, so just sort of open and close them a few times. And also on the packet it does tell you to wear safety goggles while you're using this, so I've got my safety goggles on. So I'm going to begin just by cutting straight across some pieces of sheet wood and some strip wood, and I've got various different sizes here. So you can see there on the plate you've got a line across the middle, and that will be used as your cutting line. So as you would with anything else, when you're going to cut, put your little pencil marks at either side of the piece of wood. And I haven't done that here because I'm just going to cut them in half, but obviously if you needed to size them, you would do your pencil lines and then lay your piece across so that the pencil lines are lined up with that line on the cutting plate. And this is a 1.5mm thick piece of a beche sheet wood. That's 1/16 of an inch. So I've lined up my pencil marks. I'm not applying a lot of pressure there, and there, a nice easy cut. I'm then going to try the 2.5 or 3/32 of an inch, and the same thing again. I'm going to use both hands, pressing a little bit harder this time. And there, not quite as easy as you would expect, but still a nice clean cut there. And the 3mm piece, and this is 1/8 of an inch, and the same thing again. And again, a nice clean cut. And again with the strip wood, starting off with a 3x3, 1/8 of an inch. And that's extremely easy. 3x6, so 1/8 by 1/4 of an inch. Again, very easy. And now the 5x5, which on my old cutters I couldn't do. So let's see if this makes it any easier. Yeah, really easy. I'm really pleased with that, because I always used to have to use my mitre block and saw for the 5x5 strip, and that's 13/64 of an inch. So I'm actually thrilled by that. Very easy. Now, when you're not using them, always close the handles and put the little sort of spring back on there to keep it together. Okay, so to change the cutting plate, which is this part, you'll need a Phillips screwdriver or a crosshead screwdriver. So begin by undoing the handles. So flip the little spring off and make sure you're sort of aware of this blade at all times. You can lay it down on your work surface, undo this screw, take that out and then just slide the plate off, put that somewhere safe, and then slide the angle one on. Oops, wrong way round. Like that. Again, I'm being careful of where the blade is, and that just slides on like that. The holes will then line up, and then you can put the screw back in from the other side. Let's get that started. And then use your screwdriver to tighten that up. Okay, so on the angle plate, all around the outside there, you've got the degrees. And the one you'll probably use most is this 45-degree angle, which is the first one here. And you would use that for sort of doing your picture frames and things like that. But obviously there are other angles on there, right up to 135 degrees, depending on what project you're working on. So I'll just do the cuts again in the various sort of sized wood. So again, you've got a line on the edge of the cutting plate there, which will be your cutting line. So if you're using pencil marks, that's where you line them up. And you would just lay it alongside the marker there. Cut like that, and again that's the 3mm 1/8 of an inch strip wood. And then do the 3x6, and that's the 1/8 by 1/4 of an inch. And then the 5x5, 13/64 of an inch. And for sort of ease of cutting, it's the same. I just thought I'd show you on the angle plate as well. And then for the other angles, this is sort of like a bit of a peg or a clothespin, and you would just squeeze that and move it round, and it sort of slots into place next to the line, depending on what angle you want it at. And again, you can use it for straight cutting, that's your 0-degree angle or 90-degree angle there, if you wanted to cut a straight strip in there as well. It just sort of clips in like that, and then that's nice and firm. Okay, so to change the blade, I've just popped the flat cutting plate back on, but you don't have to, but it's just to make it easier for you to see what I'm doing. So open the handles, lay that back down on your work surface. I'm going to undo these two screws. And then just really carefully remove the old blade, and I'll show you how I dispose of that in a moment. And then the new blade is stored here in the handle. I'm going to open this screw as well. And then remove that spring, and then pull up the handle like that. And there are the blades. So take one of those out, push it up like that from the other side, and like that. And then that's actually a new blade, so I'm going to just pop that back in. So then do that back up. And then you lay your new blade back on. I'm just going to lay that back down on the work surface. Pop the plate back on, keeping the blade in place. And then you can put those screws back in. And tighten those up. Make sure they're nice and tight. You can then pop the spring back on there, it just slots over those two bits sticking out of the handle there, and I'll close that down. And then to dispose of that blade, so that whoever is emptying the bin doesn't cut themselves on it, I just wrap that into a piece of kitchen towel. Wrap it up, and then I use my thicker masking tape, which doesn't matter what size you use, and I just wrap that around the tissue. And then that can go safely into the rubbish. I hope you found this video helpful, and perhaps if you were undecided as to whether to buy one of these tools, that's perhaps helped you to decide. It really is a great tool, and better than my old cutter as well. And like I say, these are available for sale in my Etsy shop, and I'll pop a link to the product below. But there are lots of great tools in the shop now, and I'm happy to ship worldwide, so do have a browse. If there's a particular tool you'd like to see demonstrated next, then just leave a comment below. And for now, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.